Hello there, everyone. We're starting another episode. But I'm still singing because that's what I do when we check our microphones.
I see. Hello?
You're not helping at all. That's fine.
I don't know what is expected of me
We've
in
got
this
tips
situation.
to read. We've got to bantering. That's what people want. They want to hear your lovely voice just as much as I do.
The Sonozaki family, the one to drastically expand its influence after the war, was the Sonozaki family. The leader at the time was Oryo Sonozaki, who still has that seat today.
We've heard that name before.
Yep.
We have. That's not the first time we've heard that name. Okay.
Yeah, Grandma.
Yeah.
Oryo Sonozaki has grown old, and today you can only catch a glimpse of who she was at the time. From what I've been told, however, she was a leader extolled as the best in history. Having become so old, aside from going out a few times a week for lessons, she spends her time at home in solitude and seems to leave most of the ceremonial affairs to her heir, Mion.
Aside from going out a few times a week for lessons? Like for teaching?
I choose to believe that it's like,
What does that mean?
I choose to believe that it's just like regular like knitting lessons, like old lady social evening.
Yep.
And that it just so happens that one of the attendees is the head of the local Yakuza.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, but she is seen around town.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's not just... Okay, cool. That's...
At least allegedly.
Allegedly, she is seen around town by others. That's the important part here. There are
different views on why the successor was not her daughter, but her granddaughter Mion, but it's rumored that it has to do with disownment of her daughter and son-in-law.
The disownment of her daughter and son-in-law. Ooh. Okay, so her son is the one that's running like is like kind of repping the family to the larger organization, right? Because we've heard about her son, and her son isn't the one that's in line because he's doing something else for the family that feels important.
Was son-in-law?
No. I thought we heard about her son.
Okay, I thought that was meant to be Mion and Shion's dad.
Right. Mion and Shion's dad.
Do we know that the
okay.
Do we know that there's a? It seems like we've been described as...
I will have to make sure I'm keeping track of this when I go back and do all my note-taking on this one, because I thought for sure that we knew what the situation with their father was, but I guess not. Okay, so the disownment of her daughter and son-in-law. Okay, I'll make sure to get a better grip on that before I come back with theory time. Interesting.
That uninhibited granddaughter, Mion Sonozaki, still shows no signs of the dignity required of the next leader. However, she does have Sonozaki blood in her veins and is permitted the name of Demon. She still doubtlessly requires caution and is probably hiding her fangs and claws, as skillfully as the leaders of the past did.
Gives a whole new meaning to the 5-demon firefight, right? Because... only 2 of those members of the 5-demon firefight are actually part of the 3 families as far as we know.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Oh, that's funny. Oh, I'm going to need to... I can't wait to get into that. There was so much to chew on in this episode. I'm so happy. Sorry. We're good here. The elderly leader of the Sonozaki family. Yes, tell me about her. How many witness reports are there of her? Yeah, the postal worker ain't seen nothing either. The Sonozaki main house has their seal hanging from their mailbox, so that anyone can stamp their mail or parcels with it and drop it in. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, that is really careless of them, mate. So, when was she last seen?
She was last seen at the Watanagashi opening ceremony greetings. She apparently returned home right after that.
Okay, so she's out in public among a lot of people. Okay. Well, she is pretty old. From what I heard, she goes out a few times a week to take lessons, right? You found anything out about that?
Every Monday, she goes to the assembly hall to practice the Taishogoto, but she didn't go this week.
Taishogoto.
I have to know what that is.
Oh, the Taishogoto.
Taishogoto is not a word I've ever heard before.
She performing still? That's awesome. But she didn't go this week. Oh, what happened to your grandmama?
Taishogoto,
What do we got?
or the Nagoya harp. It is a stringed instrument that looks like that.
Oh, that's neat. That's really hard to describe.
Other than it looks cool.
Other than it looks cool. There's an article on Wikipedia though. Maybe if there's a use-free image, I'll put it up or something. But yeah, that looks awesome. And at calls saying she wasn't going to be there. Has anyone confirmed it?
No, nobody. She apparently takes days off once in a while, though, so no one thought it was strange.
Tomorrow, why don't we pretend we're at the town hall and call around 10 o'clock? Please figure out whether or not she's at home.
10 o'clock? Got it.
Ever since it started to seem more and more like ancient Hinamizawa traditions had something to do with all this, he'd been keeping a careful eye on the three families. At this point, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family and the leader of the Furude family had disappeared. There was only one leader left. Oryo Sonozaki, the leader of the Sonozaki family. She was apparently a pretty old woman. Her dignity hasn't waned, but she still only appeared before people rarely, so it was difficult to confirm where she was at any given time. She, the last leader, hadn't been seen since the day of Watanagashi. Was she still alive and well within the Sonozaki main house? Or had she...
According to Mio Sonozaki, she had fallen ill and was sleeping it off.
I wonder if she's really sleeping. I'd like to take a look at her face and her pulse. You know what I mean?
You can say that again.
The two of them breathed out a big puff of cigarette smoke.
Oishi-san, about the search warrants for the Sonozaki main house and the Furude shrine. Do you think we'll get them?
Oishi didn't respond, exhaled another cloud of tobacco smoke. His surroundings now as foggy as his mind. Interesting.
So, seems like Oishi is having the same suspicions that you did a long time ago this chapter.
Yeah, we talked about that very... I don't remember what part of the episode it was in, but I remember at least we talked among one another about, like, hey, we wanted to make sure that... Is she still alive, or is her aliveness being obfuscated by Mio in order to kind of keep things in order, and just try... Especially knowing now the true scope of the three families, it makes it a lot more... It makes it a lot more dire whether or not she's around.
The hidden demon. The inhabitants of Hinamizawa believe that the blood of demons flows in their blood. As such, the character for demon... I don't know how to read that.
This character right here
is treated as very sacred. For example, usage of the character in names is apparently a right reserved for only the leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Sonozaki families.
Ooh, I'm gonna need to see people's the characters in their names, aren't I?
Case in point, we can see it in the current Sonozaki leader's name. Oryo is written with this character here.
Yep, and there it is right there on the left. So, okay.
This, and only this, is proof that she is a legitimate leader of the Sonozaki family.
Really? So is Mion...
In the same way, Mion Sonozaki, its successor, contains the character in her name, with Mi being written as such.
Oh, okay. Neat.
It also goes for Oryo's daughter and Mion's mother, Akane, who did not succeed her.
Ooh, hold on here. Now we're getting names. Akane. Oh, okay.
It's known that before the disowning, Akane's name was written like so, though it was changed afterwards, but still read as Akane.
Okay. Interesting. And and it's beneath a different character there. So Akane was disowned.
You've been disowned. You have to change your name. Family name? No, given name. I gave you that name and I can take it back.
I see. It's interesting that it's in their given name and not in their family name. I guess because only those with it in their given name are allowed the privilege, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. but she kept that character on top of the character for demon there, and her new name.
Incidentally, it's thought that the first character of the Mayor Kichiro's name originally meant demon, which can also be read as Kei.
Interesting.
It should be said that names using the character aren't limited only to successors of the Sonozaki family. You can even find it in the last names of the three families. For example, the characters for Kimiyoshi are likely a split-up version of the character. If you write it in reverse and top to bottom, it clearly resembles the character. As for the Furude family, who have been in the Shinto priesthood for generations, the word for fortune teller can be written without interval characters like so. I think that with the addition of a demon's horn, the tick on the top of the character, this character became the that character that is used in their name now. In the case of the Sonozaki family, where Sonozaki is written like so, I can't find any reference to the character, perhaps because it's already ingrained into their first names. They were the clan responsible for running the Watanagashi ceremony, so I think that instead they included the contents of that ceremony into their last name. The Zaki in Sonozaki is a conjugation of the word for slice, and the Sono, written like so, probably contains the hidden meaning of human body, as it is a complicated mess, organs, enclosed by four sides. I think that in other words, that Sonozaki comes from those who slice open the gut.
And when I put Sonozaki into Microsoft Word and changed the font to Wingdings, you wouldn't believe what I found.
Exactly.
I gotta say, that's the least compelling. So, like, it's interesting that there's the tradition of putting that character in the name of those who are set to be successor. But, like,
I want
step on the gas there, or step on the brake there, Mia. What are you doing?
I want someone to do a fanfic that's all of the pages of Takano's scrapbook that weren't bangers and that missed the mark. All of the wild, pointless theories she came up with along the way.
Absolutely. Request denied.
What request could it be?
Oh, for the search warrants.
I'm back.
How'd it go? Did you find any clues out there? The officers shook their heads in disappointment. Exhaustion was plainly showing on everyone's faces. That was only natural. None of them got even a wink of sleep since the day of the Watanagashi.
Chief?
Oh, Chief, let the youngest of us take a nap and then switch them out. We got a long stretch ahead of us, after all. Let's not push ourselves too hard. Rest up so we can take it easy as we go.
I've been telling them to sleep in shifts. Nobody actually seems willing to sleep, though. Could you tell them yourself, Oishi-san?
Oh my, you don't need to force yourselves. Komiyama-kun, please let everyone sleep in shifts, starting with the youngest.
Komiyama-san, please do that.
After the chief told him as well, Komiyama-san left his seat. So, Chief, still no good on our request.
It's just a rumor among the villagers in the first place, you know? It's gonna be difficult without more concrete evidence.
Even when that evidence might be tucked away in there?
We need evidence that evidence is tucked away in there.
Oh, Chief, don't start speaking in riddles to me now. We have witnesses that saying 4 people, including the 2 who died, went into the forbidden ritual storehouse without permission. This is all reliable information.
Who do you think witnessed?
I was gonna say he didn't say that he knew. He said he has a reliable witness, which means that someone told him before he played hardball with Keiichi.
Yeah, he says we have witnesses, so that seems like he thinks he has more than a rumor.
Yeah.
Who would a witness have been?
Shion.
You might call it information, but they're really only rumors. They're not concrete evidence.
Well, it's true. We ain't got no pictures of the 4 of them sneaking in with the cloth tied around their heads. Anyway, those 4 saw something inside that storehouse. Something important enough that they'd be erased.
Important enough that they'd be erased. What would that be exactly?
Well, that's why I'm asking for a warrant to go looking for it in the first place. Anything pointing out the Sonozaki family's connections to violent organizations would be a major contender, like a pile of Takarevs or a secret puppet production facility. The secret Sonozaki family fortune would also be pretty difficult to discard.
Look, Oishi-san, I know how you feel. However, that storehouse is a sacred building belonging to the Furude Shrine, and we need to have proper consideration for the locals when dealing with it.
I heard there was an hour-long call made from Congressman Sonozaki to the big man. Chief, could he have nailed you back down?
Anyway, as long as we don't have suitable evidence, we won't get a search warrant for the storehouse. That goes for the Sonozaki main house, too. Especially considering that's the jurisdiction of both Section 4 and the Prefectural Police's Crime Prevention Division. We need careful preparations first.
Well, if you say you need more preparations, then why don't you just let me talk with them directly? Shige-chan is the head of Section 4, right? For crime prevention, it's Sankai-san. They seem like they'd be quicker to talk if I sat them down at a mahjong table.
Chief, you have a visitor. Yikes.
Pushing the employee who guided him right out of the way was an old man who looked like a Yakuza member, given his crested kimono and hakama. Did I not get enough of this over the phone? Oh, hello there. Hello there, Mr. Appearing but not getting a sprite in this. Interesting. I am Congressman Sonozaki. I demand to know who's responsible for this. This instant.
Hello, I'm the Division Chief Takasugi.
I don't need your name. I could have you demoted on a whim. You wouldn't even be enough. Bring out the one called Owawishi or whatever. He deserves punishment for requesting a search warrant on the sacred Furude Shrine.
I sincerely apologize. Oishi is currently out on investigation and he's been difficult to contact. I'll take his place and hear you out, so please have a seat.
The chief's eyes will tell me to get out of here. Perhaps I'll gratefully accept this favor. Maybe I'll go lay down in the nap room for a spell. Listen here now. The Furude Shrine spent 2,600 years under the imperial calendar and 2,500 more beyond that. It is sacred, a sanctuary that must never be defiled. The 800,000 gods, Oyashiro-sama, and the spirits of our ancestors are enshrined there. The holy shrine protects Hinamizawa from when the sun comes up to when it sets, and from when the moon rises to when it falls. Who is the idiot who wanted to set foot in there? Besides, the right to religion is the most revered right of the people of this country in the Constitution. You dare to be so bold as to sully that using your own investigation's negligence as pretext? I cannot and will not allow it. Are you listening, you lying scum? I'm angry now, so you're not getting off the hook that easily. Coin flip whether or not I remember that voice next time he shows up. Oh, it just sounds like I'm doing an old man voice, but very intense.
So,
they really don't want people in there.
They really don't.
Again, the quote ritual implements I don't think are what's important there.
It's interesting though, because Oishi had a bunch of theories, and we've seen inside, and we didn't see any of that stuff. We didn't see a stash of guns or a heroin manufacturing
But also,
plants.
that's not what Keiichi was looking for.
Yeah.
Keiichi was being led by Mio to look at all the implements and the dangerous things hanging around. And he got kind of, taken away by those. He wasn't looking at the floor for trapdoors.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't looking, at what else was in there. His gaze was so fixated on the flashy, big things that looked so fierce that he didn't stop to think, is that really what's hidden here, or are these obfuscating something else?
Mm-hmm. I just think it's really, it's curious.
Oh, yeah.
That what we see in there doesn't seem to prompt a response like that, and what Oishi suggests, we also don't see. So something else has got to be up, but what?
Well, we didn't see that stuff, but also, again, there was that first room where they wouldn't let Keiichi turn the lights on for more than a second, right? Could have been something in there. trapdoors. He wasn't paying attention to the floor at all or to anything else hidden in the shadows. It could be there's just a cache. There's just a cache of guns hidden underneath the table with the spikes on it. And he's like, oh god, the spikes on the table, they're so scary. I couldn't possibly look underneath it at all the guns. What if they eat me instead of shooting me? Anyway, we're now going back to our main story here featuring Keiichi Maebara. I saw a ceiling that I was familiar with. Though I was groggy from sleep, I did notice that I was in my futon like I was every morning. I looked at my clock, and despite having turned in so late last night, I had awoken at precisely the same moment I always did. I'm so low on sleep, but I guess you really can get up at the same time every day, huh? The secrets of the human body never cease to amaze me. If I went back to sleep like this, I would definitely not be waking up again. I spurred myself on and slipped out of my futon. Mom asked me about last night at breakfast. Apparently, we too had gotten a call asking if we knew where Rika-chan and Sadako were, and Mom vaguely understood that something serious was happening.
So then, you were out late last night with all your friends looking for them?
Until about 3, I think. Ugh, yeah.
Did you find them? Rika-chan and Sadako-chan, I mean.
Crunch. I wearily bite into my toast. It really didn't have any taste. Just then, we heard the chime go ding-dong. I looked up at the clock and saw that it was about 5 minutes past my regular meeting time with Rena. It was her at the door.
Good morning. Did you get any sleep? Did you?
I think I slept for a few hours. You could probably count them on a chicken's toes, though.
Hahaha.
Rena seemed pretty sleep-deprived as well. There was something missing from her usual spirit. Are you going to school?
Yeah, I think it would be better that way.
She said, smiling, albeit stiffly. Rena was probably worrying her heart out about those two as well. Even so, she wanted to go to school. Yeah, because, that's just generally good advice in times of high stress like this where things feel overwhelming. Having that little bit of constant normalcy of routine, right, can help be a grounding factor when other things feel like they're spiraling beyond control.
Yep.
It's not bad advice.
If you stay home today, I think you'd just be worrying nonstop and sleeping.
Exactly.
I don't want that. So let's go to school together.
All right. Wait just a moment. I'll go get ready. I was just a little bit happy about Rena mustering that much consideration for me. We went to the place where we'd usually meet up with Mion, but she was nowhere to be found. We were already a little bit late today, so we thought she'd be waiting for us.
I guess Mi-chan couldn't wake up today, huh?
Oh, that's right. For her, it wasn't just yesterday. She was up all night looking for the mayor the night before last, too. We waited up for a bit. Time passed until it got to the point where it was okay for us to go on alone, and we exchanged glances. What should we do? Should we wait a little longer? At that point, my brain, which had finally been woken up by the morning air, recalled the ominous words Oishi-san had left me with last night. The leaders of the 3 families were disappearing one after the other, and the next it might be the Sonozaki's leader. Could Mion have... No, that couldn't be.
Let's go. Let's let her sleep for today.
Rena gave me a pat on the back. Mion, she's still here, right?
Did you say something?
Oh, nothing. I'm just talking to myself. I'm in a way that apparently people cannot hear for once. Let's get moving.
I can only hear your thoughts when you don't say them aloud.
That's fucked up. The 2 of us headed to school by ourselves. Interesting. So this gives a whole new idea for what maybe was making Mion so sleepy and tired on the night of the day after Watanagashi. Was she up all night that night as well? Searching for maybe her grandmother? I don't know. I'm just putting random pieces together and seeing how they look, side by side, taking disparate little ideas and nuggets and seeing could this work? Could this work? We're still in the throw stuff at the wall phase.
Yep.
On the way, we saw a bunch of our classmates accompanied by their parents. It even looked like some of them were being taken to school by car. Surprisingly, the principal was also standing watch at the school gate. I had never seen that before. Good morning.
Good morning.
The principal was bowing to our classmates' guardians. The wooden sword leaning next to him was a little ominous. Doesn't he study the swords?
Studies the blade, yeah.
Didn't we learn that back in chapter 1?
I feel like we did, that he studied kendo or something.
We know he's got a mean 3-hit combo.
Yeah.
Maebara-kun, good morning. Ryugu-kun, good morning.
This is Rena.
Oh, yes it is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning. Your teacher has something important to say, so head straight to the classroom, all right?
Rena and I said nothing. The madness that only existed at night had finally crawled out into the sunlight. That's what it felt like. Good morning, everyone. What? The hushed conversations that had been spreading for a while now all disappeared like an illusion the moment our teacher walked in the door. Silence dominated the classroom. The principal came in with our teacher as well. This was clearly not a normal morning.
I should have had you have some of my curry to prepare.
I should have.
I got curry today.
You did get curry today. Was it good?
Yeah.
First, the principal has something important to tell everyone. Go ahead, Mr. Principal, since that is your name. The principal cleared his throat and approached the dais.
I'm sure some of you already know this.
The classroom was dead silent. Everyone was staring at Rika-chan and Sadako's empty seats. Sadako doesn't get a chime from me because she's not my friend, she's my gremlin. The principal briefly and simply declared that Rika-chan and Sadako had gone missing. There wasn't a single person in the classroom who didn't already know. There seemed to be many, however, who couldn't accept it as the truth. It had been confirmed to them by the principal's words. There were sobs throughout the classroom, and I heard a kid crying. They steadily spread throughout the whole room. The big-hearted principal wasn't able to keep his cool either.
Okay, everyone, pay attention. From today on, your parents or guardians will be taking you to school. For those of you whose parents can't do so, you'll be coming here in groups. I made a handout, so read it carefully and be sure to show it to your parents, understand?
The teacher's voice sounded like the principal's and was a little abrasive.
Damn it.
Not even she could conceal the strain she felt from this unprecedented abnormal situation. They should have just canceled school today. However, Rena told me the school was also like a nursery for the students whose parents both worked. So some of them wouldn't want school to be canceled at all. Right? Right? That's why it's at this time of day. Well then, let's begin the lesson, shall we? Class president. Oh, she is absent, I see. Then whoever is on day duty, let me hear it. All rise. That feeling of wanting to maintain an everyday atmosphere, even if only in school, precisely because our lives had been so messed up, was something that I agreed with at this point.
I forgot to ask, did you have any more thoughts between last episode and now about what's up with the disappearance? This latest disappearance?
Nah, not really. I do think it's telling that the person who disappeared was someone who was on my short list for who would have been a future curse victim, as I mentioned. But
Wait.
the mayor?
No, I meant the latest disappearances. Rika and Sadako.
Oh, Rika and Sadako, right. Not yet. Again, I think they left voluntarily because their bikes aren't there. So I think they know something that the rest of everyone else doesn't know, and for whatever reason they can't share.
And yet they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah. It's like, I would be worried if they were gone and there was a sign that like they had been abducted or spirited away or something like that. But no, it looks like they left on their own.
And yeah, where could two kids get to on their bikes and vanish?
I don't know. They clearly no one else cares to check in on them beyond when they go missing. So, like, they just let them live together and then, like, yeah, this is a good thing for two kids to be doing. We'll throw up a token effort when they go missing, but you know.
They had the whole town search and called in the police.
I'm being disingenuous, but like it's like, I don't know, if you were really worried about them, why are you letting them continue to live there rather than like someone taking them in?
And yet the question remains, where could they have gone? That they left voluntarily, but vanished and couldn't be found.
I don't know. I really do think that they had some sort of plan in mind. Like that's my gut feeling right now is that either Sadako or Rika had some piece of knowledge or information that they needed to act on. In case maybe Rika talking to Keiichi saying like, "Don't worry, I've got this under control." Maybe there's something she's doing that in some way gets this under control. I don't know. Like, that's the only thing we've seen that was told to Rika and Sadako that would be actionable like that, but... And I guess you gotta bring Sadako along with you because you don't want to leave the gremlin home alone. As for the teacher who always had her lunch in the staff lounge, she ate in the classroom today. I had to laugh at her curry bento, which was just a rumor until now, but there was no one to laugh with me. Rena, laugh with me. I'm not feeling it. Rena brought her chair and lunch over to my seat. Today it was only the two of us. The fact that we didn't need to drag any other desks over was sad.
I'm sleepy.
Yeah, me too. I don't feel like sleeping anymore, though. In fact, I'm jealous of the people that could sleep at a time like this. They've got nerves of steel.
You're right.
I was sleepy this morning, but my drowsiness had dissipated after coming to school and constantly feeling the incredible tension. Rena's bento box didn't have its usual luster. That was to be expected. Rena was up for a long time last night as well. She wouldn't have had time to make her lunch beforehand. Interesting that she still makes her own lunch, but she lives with at least a male guardian, right?
Yeah.
So she says she still has a mom, but her mom and dad don't make lunch for her. She still makes it for herself. Interesting.
Maybe she just loves cooking.
We do know that she is a foodie. Her love language is food. She goes around making food for people whose family she's not a part of, as we saw back in chapter 1. So, like, I fully believe that, like, that could just be she wants to be doing foodie stuff. But since it's not like she would have gotten up early this morning. Grab anything you want. Go ahead. You can admit my bento was better today.
Okay, then I'll have some. Wow, a chikuwa roll with perilla and cheese? That's interesting.
Rena, yours might have ready-made food in it, but it's pretty good too. I realized the two of us were desperately trying to brighten the afternoon mood to its usual level as much as we could. I looked around the classroom and it seemed like we were the only ones trying to do so, surrounded as we were by gloominess.
Just the two of us sharing our lunches like this. It's sort of like something.
Sort of like what? I don't understand. What do you mean, sort of like what? What kind of a thing?
Something.
What kind of thing?
Thing.
Be specific. Our laughter grew quieter. I was the first one to mess up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's not your fault.
Our chopsticks both stopped moving. We couldn't keep it up anymore. Oh, Rika-chan. Sadako. I wonder where they went. Those words might have sounded too miserable. Everyone was thinking it, using roundabout ways to address the topic, but I came right out and said it. I heard Rena catch her breath.
Yesterday, while you were gone, I heard a bunch of things, so I'll tell you what I know, okay?
I'm sorry again about last night. Go ahead. Why is Keiichi apologizing for last night? For just being kind of a little bit... Because he ran off on his own and was a little...
Yeah, ran off on his own, and it's
right.
like, you don't go disappearing too.
Right. He's like, yeah, you're absolutely correct about it. Okay. At that time, since they had arrived for support, Rena was helping the Ladies' Society cook the miso soup that we'd had. They reported all the information the villagers had gathered, and Rena said she overheard it. They didn't know anything important, though, did they? Rika-chan and Sadako went home after school, and then apparently went somewhere on their bikes, but other than that, Mion had told me yesterday, we had no clues.
Yeah, the police also said they probably went out on their bikes to go play somewhere as soon as they got home. If they were going out to play somewhere on their bikes right after getting home, then they might have gone into town. So I guess they concluded they disappeared while in Okinomiya. The police were saying how they were going to expand their search to Okinomiya in the morning.
Huh. In town, huh? Makes sense why we couldn't find them even though we searched all of Hinamizawa then. Still, something didn't quite fit. I had no basis for thinking that, but just a gut feeling. Well, yeah, because here's the thing. If it was as simple as that, then you would have seen their bikes somewhere around town as well, right? If it had been the fact that they've taken their bikes but then hidden them so that they aren't found or leading a trail to where they are implies a level of intention, right? That they're going somewhere and don't want to be found.
Well, it implies a level of intention, or it implies the level of intention in a kidnapping as well.
Yeah, or whoever kidnapped them did a very good job at making it look like they went willingly. I revealed something to Rika-chan that was very likely important to her that day. Then Rika-chan told me to leave it to her. And then, what was it she said? Oh right, if she didn't work hard, then something bad might happen to the dog too, I think. With all the talk of dogs and cats, I still didn't have the faintest idea what she really meant, but it might have been Rika-chan's way of saying that this was a race against time. Damn it! The dog, right, the dog chasing after the cats. Is that... I guess Oishi?
It's unclear.
Like, that's the only person who seems to fit easily into that. I'd selfishly pushed my anxiety out on Rika-chan, tried to run away. When I thought about it, I shouldn't have run back then. I should have asked her more about the dogs and the cats. The more I think back on it, I really screwed up. Anyway, I don't think Rika-chan was in a situation where she would just go off to play somewhere. Of course, they don't have any evidence or conviction to base that on. It was just a hunch.
I don't think she'd go into...
I don't think she'd go into town.
You think so too, Keiichi-kun. I agree. Rika-chan and Sadako-chan must have disappeared in Hinamizawa.
I looked back at Rena, startled. I could hear the conviction in those words. Without replying to my gaze, she took her bento box and went to the hallway. You know where we haven't been this time around? We haven't spent any time at the dump or the dam construction site.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to go rinse this out.
she timed that in a way that broke off the conversation. Suddenly I got the feeling that the next thing she had to say would be hard to say aloud in the classroom. I hurriedly grabbed my bento box and followed her. Rena didn't go to the kitchenette, but rather to the water fountains out back where students seldom went. And then I got mugged by Rena. She took my lunch even though I'd already given it to her. The water flowed down onto her bento boxes. During that time, Rena didn't say a word, and then after making sure there were no other students around, she finally opened her mouth to speak.
The whole thing about Rika-chan and Sadako-chan going to town to play and then disappearing, that didn't make sense for some reason, so I decided to investigate a little bit myself.
Who did you ask? What did you ask them about?
I asked the Ladies' Society all kinds of things. There was a lot of tofu in the miso soup yesterday, remember? The old lady from the Tomita tofu shop came too.
The Tomita tofu shop. Oh, I remember. That was one of the stores on the road leading to the hospital. Those huge lumps of tofu dancing in the bathtub like cistern always looked nice and refreshing. Man, imagine getting fresh tofu around here.
We can. There is one local business that does it fresh.
No way.
Yeah, I used to.
Where?
You can get it at the organic market downtown if they're still running.
Oh, okay. So they sell it through the big market downtown. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But there was a guy who made it his thing.
Oh, dang! I wish it was easier for us to get downtown.
Yeah,
That would be awesome. Anyway,
the old lady says she remembers Sadako-chan stopping to buy tofu there on her way home from school.
on her way home from school. Okay. Tofu. Well, it's on the way home, right? How is that a clue? It doesn't sound like it's on the way home if she's in town, right? Because they live at the shrine. So that's on the way home, quote unquote. That's them going in an entirely different direction to Okonomiya, right? Or is the hospital still in Hinamizawa?
I don't recall. Just listen. Do you remember when we went to Rika-chan's house?
Rena stepped away from the sinks and spread her arms wide to recreate the space of Rika-chan's room.
There was a pot on her gas cooker, and there was miso soup in it. I think there was probably about half of it inside. The rest was in the refrigerator. They must have been planning to make chilled tofu. It was on a plate in plastic wrap.
As Rena explained, she walked around as if she were really going through Rika-chan's room. Still, Rena, why does this matter?
Shh. Rena, food detective time.
Okay. What? All right, whatever gets you working, I suppose.
Keiichi-kun, when you make miso soup, you put the tofu in last. That means that Rika-chan or Sadako-chan, whoever was cooking, was standing there making it up until right before dinner time.
Okay. Right up until dinner time? Wasn't everyone saying that their bikes weren't around, so they must have gone somewhere to play by themselves?
The trash in the countertop bin was put in there really awkwardly, too. Rika-chan makes most of their food and lunches, but occasionally Sadako-chan does it too. So Sadako-chan was cooking that night.
So that means that Sadako at least didn't go somewhere to play. She was preparing dinner?
Yeah, then I took a look at the rice cooker and there was rice for two still in there.
So she made dinner for both of them, but neither of them ate it, is that right? Rena nodded.
So next I looked in the fridge. There was some chilled tofu made from the other half they bought. That's not all either. There were a whole bunch of plates with side dishes for dinner, and all of them were in plastic wrap.
You usually plastic wrap things so you can have leftovers for the next day. My mom does that all the time too, using them in breakfast and lunch.
That's right, you use plastic wrap to save leftovers for later. So the fact that they were in the fridge means that they didn't plan on eating them that night at least.
Is that what that means?
Keiichi-kun, think a little harder. Their dinner was totally untouched and wrapped up. What do you think that means?
That they hadn't had a chance to eat yet? It means they didn't need to eat dinner anymore, so they would have gone out to eat or ordered takeout, right? It must have been really sudden, too. If they had decided to do that beforehand, they wouldn't have made anything, but there was dinner for two of them. It means that when Sadako-chan was making their dinner, they really thought they were going to eat it until right before they didn't. So then the theory about the two of them going out to play and the disappearing is completely wrong.
Yep. They disappeared after making dinner and right before they ate it. Probably around 7 o'clock.
Where would they have gone at a time like that by themselves without eating?
That's obviously where this is leading. Keiichi-kun, do you remember? On their fold-out table, there were things like soy sauce and a chopstick holder.
Might have been something like that. I didn't quite remember.
The container for the soy sauce, it was empty. There wasn't even a drop left. Chilled tofu wouldn't taste good without it. So I looked under their sink for the larger bottle of soy sauce they have.
You sure know a lot about where they keep stuff.
I've been to Rika-chan's house and cooked for them before.
See? See, I told you. Rena cleared her throat, her face returning to a serious expression.
Then when I opened the cabinet, the big bottle of soy sauce wasn't there at all.
Wasn't there? What does that mean?
Everything I'm going to say from here on is just Rena's idea, so please listen until the end without saying anything.
Okay.
Last night...
So this is all Rena's theory. So everything that she said up until now, she is saying is what she saw and is reporting to us as fact. And past this point is what she's trying to extrapolate from that. Okay.
Last night, Sadako was making dinner like normal. Rika-chan usually watched TV until the food was ready, so she was probably lying down watching a variety show or something. Sadako put the tofu in the miso soup, and right when dinner was about to be ready, she noticed that they were out of soy sauce. So Rika-chan, who had nothing to do, brought the big bottle of soy sauce to a neighbor's house to borrow theirs.
I don't really know my neighbors that well. Would people be willing just to give her soy sauce?
Yeah, it's not all that uncommon in Hinamizawa.
You know what's weird? That's the kind of thing I could have imagined while I was growing up.
And now can't.
And now absolutely cannot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that, because you've seen the house where I grew up in most of my childhood.
Yeah.
It's relatively suburban. Well, not suburban in the sense that there's huge expanses, but big single family home in a development, right?
Yeah.
And when I was growing up, I do absolutely have one or two memories of us borrowing ingredients from our neighbors.
Yeah.
Or seeing our neighbors around and changing dinner plans and doing stuff like that and having that sense of intra-community camaraderie or openness to it. And at least now, even back in that same place, I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah.
I know we live in an apartment building right now around people we don't really know, so I can't imagine it for that reason, but
even so, it's an apartment building that does not have that many residents. We're not talking a gigantic anonymous block. And it's weird that we don't know anybody else here, even people who have lived here for a lengthy period of time like we have.
Yeah, and it's like, I absolutely could not see us go into a neighbor and being like, hey, can I borrow, your butter?
Or like, hey, can I play with your dog? That was a thing that my family often did with our neighbor who had a delightfully friendly basset hound.
Oh.
And we couldn't have pets, but he was always happy to take the dog out and play fetch with the neighbor's kids and so on, and let them give him some treats. And I don't see that happening much anymore.
No, it's the times they are a-changing.
Yep.
All right, so what else is the rest of her theory here?
So Rika-chan rode her bike out to get some soy sauce. No matter how long Sadako-chan waited, though, Rika-chan didn't come back. So then Sadako-chan called up the house where Rika-chan was going.
Hello?
Would Rika
happen to be imposing on you?
No, you have to do Sadako's voice, but in Rena's voice.
I can't do the gremlin voice at all.
Rika happen to be imposing on you? Something like that.
Something like that. Okay.
Then the other person must have replied with something like this. We have plenty of food here, so you should come too, Sadako-chan. Rika-chan has already eaten. I think that's how they called her out there.
Oh.
Sadako called Rika a few names in private and wrapped up the dinner she had made for them.
Best friend. Grumble, grumble.
She put it in the fridge so she could use it for breakfast and lunch the next day. Then Sadako got on her bike too.
Whee! I love going off the bike on my own.
And headed for the house where Rika-chan was.
Okay, an interesting theory. Here's the thing. Whatever they're doing seems somewhat planned and deliberate. Because we think back to chapter 1, right? And how they just kind of like noped out of the plot at some point.
Yeah.
It seems like Rika and Sadako going somewhere to do something is an event that will happen at some point. Even if Keiichi alerting her about events seem to make that event happen more quickly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. And it's a great thing to think about. How many of the events that we're getting clued in on this time around do you think still happened the first time off camera?
Yeah.
And how many do you think are actually new things this route?
Right, because we're only seeing what Keiichi sees, so it's like what he gets involved with. But it's important to remember he is not the entirety of Hinamizawa. He's only seeing his bits and pieces there.
Yep.
So, since, again, the two of them seemed to nope out of the plot last time, too, it could be something similar to what they were doing last time. And I'm not sure that I I do kind of like her deduction, like, yeah, they had made dinner, and were clearly about to make dinner, and that, or everything was set up to the point where they were about to sit down and eat, and then they left.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it seem like it's sudden, right?
Yep.
Like it's sudden or not necessarily planned. But that also all hinges on her idea about the rest of it hinges on her noticing the soy sauce thing, which is not unreasonable, but also not the most convincing linchpin.
That's true.
Yeah. I can see it, but I don't know that it's the only or even most convincing explanation for what they do at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But this is already pretty strange, right? You don't normally make so much food that you can give it to people who suddenly arrive at your house. A veteran housewife would never normally make so much food that she could feed 2 extra people. Could it have just been a coincidence that they made too much?
It's still unthinkable.
Whoa! Angry Rena face. Rena flatly denied me.
Since Rika-chan knew that Sadako-chan had worked really hard to make dinner for them, didn't she? No matter what kind of food she was offered, she wouldn't let Sadako-chan's dinner go to waste.
This was all only circumstantial evidence in Rena's guesswork. I can't imagine making up a theory and just rolling with it without questioning anything else. Could you? Me, Keiichi Maebara, couldn't be me. Even so, it was all extremely convincing. Keiichi, you're allowed to have more than one theory about things. It was the only ray of hope we had to topple this situation bereft of clues. Alright then, Rena, where did Rika-chan go to get soy sauce? That was the heart of it. It would have to be somewhere she'd be comfortable with asking for soy sauce, and somewhere Sadako wouldn't think it's suspicious that she'd been invited to for dinner. So who was it? Rena slowly shook her head. I mean, I hate saying it, but the person that best fits that description is Rena. Right? Her house isn't in the same direction as theirs, though, is the thing. But who would be most likely to invite them over to dinner, and who would Sadako be most likely to go see, is Rena herself. Let's. I'm assuming she doesn't think that, because why would she then share all this with Keiichi? The theory that makes her the most likely culprit. I don't know. Who else? We don't really know what the outside of school relationship between Rika and Mion is like.
That's true.
We know their families have a lot of historical importance together, but do the two of them hang out much outside of school? Is there like some kind of professional understanding between them, or are they like clearly they're friends, but are they like outside of school? Are they friends, or are they just like there's shades of friendship there, right? Okay. Are they invite over for dinner friends? Is my point.
That's all for Rena's guesses. These are all just ideas, okay? Keep them a secret from the police.
What? That's a weird thing to add on to the end there. What is there to hide? Even if only half of what you say is right, it could be a good clue for all this.
Keiichi-kun, this all means suspecting someone from Hinamizawa. We can't suspect anyone without a really good reason.
I don't want to suspect anyone. I don't want to suspect anyone I know.
Exactly.
It's gotta be someone from outside, right? I saw a few girls coming over to rinse out their bento boxes. I thought students didn't come back here. That's exactly how Keiichi described it before.
Yeah.
So I guess they're coming in to find these two or listen in on their conversation. Rena cut the conversation short there and returned to the classroom. I stayed there alone, my body bathed in the lively voices of the cicadas. Chomp, 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 chomp. Let's think about this, in my own way. Rena had barely any information to go on, and yet she'd reasoned out so much. There must be something that only I, who knew far more than Rena did, could deduce. Me, Keiichi Maebara, who knows far more than Rena. Alright. Oishi-san said this last night too, but this incident was definitely occurring within Hinamizawa. Rena might not have wanted to believe it, but it's basically a given that the culprit is someone within the village. The trigger for everything was when the four of us trespassed in the forbidden storehouse. Was it? Again, Keiichi. Okay. Well, the Keiichi's operating off of the premises that Keiichi is going to operate off of, and there's nothing we as an audience can do to stop that. But let it be known right here that he's still operating from a very faulty assumption of a premise here. Someone saw us going in there. That is true. The culprits breaking the taboo was a crime punishable by death. Either someone saw them going in there, or one of the four felt like telling Oishi about it. The culprits breaking the taboo was a crime punishable by death. So that night, Tomitake and Takano-san were sacrificed. There were two left. Shion and myself. I haven't seen either of the green hairs around in a while. I wonder what they're up to. However, before the culprits bore their fangs on Shion and me, they went after the mayor, to whom Shion had confessed her sin. Next they went for Rika-chan, to whom I had confessed my sin. Then what about Sadako? Just a stray bullet? By itself, Rika-chan being sacrificed after I told her everything was mortifying, but Sadako was sacrificed for no reason. Wasn't that all the more regrettable? Everything was my fault. Who would be the next to disappear? Would it be Shion and me next time? Why weren't the culprits going for Shion and me right away, though? If they had enough power to erase the mayor and Rika-chan, why not just get rid of Shion and me? They went for us, well, I wouldn't like it, but I could still tolerate it. What I couldn't forgive was them getting rid of those we confessed to. Now that I think of it. Yesterday, Shion said something alarming. She felt like someone was watching her. But then was someone watching me as well? Strangely, though, I hadn't felt anything like that until now. Even though I'm the root cause of everything, I had never once had that impression. That's super strange. Compared to Chapter 1, where you felt it a whole lot.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Seems like something's
Because-
very different.
Yeah, because at the time I chalked that a lot up to his temperament.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it might just be that he's been in a much more, his experience with all this stuff has been markedly different this time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And maybe that hasn't brought out that side of him. But the fact that Shion was describing the symptoms that Keiichi had last time makes it seem, is that more deliberate somehow? Is that feeling of paranoia somehow able to be invoked purposefully? Interesting. Because again, I had chalked it up to like, this is just how Keiichi is under these stressful circumstances. And he's showing a lot of the same tendencies, but he's not, including like, rolling with his assumptions without really challenging them. But he's not
Beating up his house's entryway with a bat.
He's not irrationally angry. He's not beating up his own house with a bat. He's not having delusions of people seeing him and following him. Interesting.
And there's been
It's-
a lot less of the sudden threatening behavior from others that we witnessed.
Yeah,
There's been a little bit of it, it seems like.
but not nearly as much.
Yeah.
And again, and I also chalked that up at the time to Keiichi's disposition, not necessarily anything different about them. So I've got to wonder then, what is the deal with... Shion could be lying about what she's reporting here. She
Mhm.
just might have knowledge that this is a thing that could happen. Maybe she's trying to gauge whether or not it's happening to Keiichi. Either way, it seems like this is something that is very different, even if it's nothing is said about it. Because why would you, right? Maybe that was simply because Shion was more cautious than me, and I was just careless. That's another story, though. Let's get back on track. Why weren't the culprits going after Shion and me? I felt like that's where the key to this lay. Could it be that I was making a big assumption that I shouldn't have been? I thought and thought, but I couldn't come up with an answer. All my premises seemed perfectly valid. The one thing I understood was that I was a concerned party to this case, and that I had a duty to watch over it until everything was resolved. So close. So close. I heard the ring of the bell declaring the end of lunch break. Would someone else disappear tonight? If no one else did, then I wanted them to get rid of me tonight for sure. And then put an end to all of this. Shion's hysterical voice on the phone last night came back to mind. I planned to murder those close to us first, make us as miserable as possible, and only then would they kill us.
Maebara-kun, lunch break is over. Go back to the classroom.
At the principal's urging, I returned to the classroom, which was quiet as the streets at night. This classroom is pretty streets ahead. There were a lot of parents picking up their children after school. It was just like a kindergarten. The students whose parents didn't come went home as a group. We left school with everyone else following the assigned route. Even while leaving, no one said anything funny. They all looked like exhausted mountaineers silently marching through the mountains. As we went, one left and then another, and in the end it was just Rena and I. I was supposed to escort Rena all the way to her house, but she declined. Will you be alright? It's dangerous to go alone.
It would be just as dangerous for you to go home by yourself after bringing me back, Keiichi-kun. It's still light out anyway.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think they didn't think all that all the way through now, did they?
I'll be fine.
I see. Then be careful, alright?
Yeah. Huh? Isn't that a policeman?
Rena pointed towards my house. Oh no! He's back! There was a car parked in front of it. From out of that car came Ooishi-san. Must have been waiting for my return to ambush me. He started walking over wearing that annoying grin. Rena, you should go. If you get involved with him, you'll be here for hours.
But what do the police want with you?
Rena's a good person. Even when I made a fuss over Rika-chan's disappearance, she never asked me why I did. She could have been suspecting me ever since then, and that would have been okay. Even so, she still hadn't asked me anything. She didn't try and pressure me into revealing the truth. I'm not the culprit.
I know that.
Okay, that's all right. Great, good to know that you know that. I can't say that I'm totally uninvolved with the incident. She simply listened, smiling like she always did. Even though I had insinuated I was related to the incident, she didn't look at me as though she were looking at something dirty. I'll tell you next time, all right?
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Get going, then. You don't want to be here around the man in his banana suit. Rena gave me a slight bow and trotted away, leaving me alone with Oishi-san, who walked over. Hello. Welcome home, Maebara-san. Hello, Banana Man. Looks like your parents aren't around at the moment. My. Was I in a bit of a spot? I'm threatening you now that your parents aren't around to stop anything, and you sent the only witness away. Came all the way to my house. But only think my good fortune my parents were absent. Since neither of them was around at this hour, they would probably be back late. Think Dad got cut out in business. I don't think he'll be back until later. I see. Well, that leaves me plenty of time to do what it is that I do with unaccompanied minors, I suppose. Well, ain't that convenient? We can do this without giving your parents any strange notions now. Oishi-san pushed my back, prompting me to walk. Seemed like he wanted me to get in the car. Don't do it! Are you taking me to the police station? I wasn't the culprit, but I was the cause of everything. Wouldn't it be weird if you wanted to investigate me? Kinda gave me a resigned feeling. No, I just want to stand around talking. We can just talk in the car, that's all. Come now, don't be shy. He opened the back door and urged me inside. If I got in, I wouldn't have a very easy time getting out. If I said no, however, then this man might really handcuff me and take me away. I couldn't refuse, I could only accept in good grace. The inside of the car had been cooled too much by the air conditioner, and there was a rusty smell coming from the filter which might have been cleaned only rarely. Nah, that's from the blood. The blood when I committed a hit and run. Couldn't quite get it out of the air filter, so do pardon the smell. Oh, is it too cold? I'll turn the car. No, I don't think there's any problem leaving your car running. Right? There's no environmental consequence for that, as far as I know. It's 1980. He turned off the engine, and it suddenly became quiet, and the voices of the Higurashi with all their cool loneliness snuck inside. Quack, 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 quack. Sounded to me like a chorus of voices lamenting my exorbitant punishment for having harbored such foolish curiosity. For a few moments while listening to those voices, I myself lamented the days that had been twisted and distorted since that night. Excuse me. Oishi-san, as if waiting for me to voluntarily begin talking, lit a cigarette and listened to the Higurashi. The silence became deafening, and I was the one who folded first. How is your investigation going? The investigation of what? There have been so many these days, ain't there? Whoa, which one you talking about? All of them. Well, all right then. They're officially secret investigations, and we're under a media blackout, but I think I can let you in on them. Shall we start from the first incident? The freak deaths of Tomatake-san and Takano-san on the night of the Watanagashi. On this one, embarrassingly enough, we ain't made no progress at all. First of all, Tomatake-san. There are indications on his body that he was assaulted by a group of people, but we ain't got no explanation for him clawing out his own throat and dying. Okay, so that seems consistent with how he died in the first chapter. So that seems like that plays out the same. We suspect an overdose from a stimulant or something, but we ain't detecting nothing. What about Takano-san? Same there, we're in the dark. Autopsies for those who are burned to death are really tough. We believe she was doused in gasoline after she was strangled. That one falls under the Gifu Prefecture Police Department, though. They ain't been very cooperative, even though it happened in our territory. Oh, I suppose that ain't really relevant, though. Is that relevant? It's on the Gifu Prefecture Police. That's the... Is that the larger prefecture that Hinamizawa is a part of?
I believe that's the next prefecture over.
Oh God!
I think.
Okay, that's the next prefecture over. That's what that's.
So like that's where
right,
they found the body like
right
a bit of a ways away in a different prefecture.
Got it. Because they're in redacted prefecture.
Yeah.
Got it. So the police didn't know anything other than that the fact the victims died inexplicably. Nonetheless, the times when the incidents occurred have been generally placed right after the festival ended. It's a bit uncertain in Takano-san's case, but the likely prospect is that she was murdered at about the same time as Tomateki-san, then dumped in the mountains up in Gifu. Why bring a dead body all the way to the mountains? What? Should have just brought Tomateki-san out there too. Oh my, Maebara-san, you're quite sharp, you know that, of course. I do believe that is something we need to be attentive of. There are a bunch of other suspicious things, but that's about all I can tell you at this point. What about the mayor? Have there been any clues? Having exhausted that topic, I changed the subject. Otherwise, he might turn the conversation on me. We investigated his movements on the day he disappeared. We didn't find nothing that could provide no clues, but I'll tell you about it anyway. I'm ingratiating you to me, making you feel thankful for me sharing the piece of information I do. That'll make you more likely to turn around and tell me what I want to know. It's an interrogation technique, and you should be aware of it. The mayor, Kiichiro Kimiyoshi. Oh. The mayor, Kiichiro Kimiyoshi. Apparently he was suffering from severe hemorrhoids. People who live a long time have an unusual amount of pride, don't they? So the mayor ain't been telling no one he was going to a proctologist at a certain university hospital in Shishibone. On the day he disappeared, he had an appointment for a checkup, so he went out there first thing in the morning. Interesting, so they could trace him in the morning. Right, but they knew where he was, like, hours before he disappeared, because he was at the town hall meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Even I knew that big hospitals like university hospitals had a really long waiting time. Apparently people would get in line hours beforehand, even if they had an appointment. His exam ended at 1 p.m. After that, he ate a light meal in the hospital restaurant and passed the time reading a magazine. We know this because of a receipt we found in his wallet at his house. Nothing suspicious at all about that, I suppose. Yeah. We did that once, right? Was I there with you? We were like, you going to the hospital restaurant after a thing just because it's like, it's right here, they have decent food, and...
Yeah, I used to eat at the hospital all the time, which sounds weird, but I promise it wasn't, because
Okay,
I was
but-
working right near it.
Yeah, that's weirder than it sounds, but that is also true.
I was literally in the next building over, and it's like, okay, I can bring my lunch, or hospital lunch.
Hospital lunch.
Hospital lunch it is.
And he bought a magazine. Okay, because of a receipt found in the wallet at his house. Okay, so... Alright, not on the face, there's nothing suspicious about that, but it's good to know. Nothing suspicious at all about that. That day, he planned to go to a meeting in the assembly hall in the evening. He was supposed to return home with plenty of time to spare, but while he was on the train coming back, there was an accident.
Now I'm having sudden flashbacks to reading The Blind Assassin in the hospital cafeteria. 'Cause that's where I read that book.
Yeah!
In the hospital cafeteria, on break, eating lunch while not in the hospital.
Oh, man. What a time.
I don't remember what happened in that book.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so on his way home, on the train home, so he takes a train to where he was going, and on the train back, there was an accident. Seems it delayed him a bit, and he only got back to his house right before the meeting was scheduled to start. Family witnessed a very hectic mayor leaving to go to the assembly hall at the shrine. Okay, so... Is he saying that they assumed that there was an accident on the train, or that they think that's what happened because his family said that he came back late and was very hectic and rushed to the assembly hall?
I mean, if there's an accident on the train, they'd
Okay.
know, so...
Okay,
Seems fair to assume that...
that actually happened. Okay. What was the meeting about? He disappeared on his way back home, right? The three families and the essential members of the town assembly were all at the meeting. We think they were discussing how to deal with the serial freak death incidents that had happened again this year. Dealing with it in the sense that they were deciding who was to die next. It's my... So then, on his way home, the old man who had treated Shion like his own daughter, he was a dependable person who would encourage Shion whenever she felt pressured by anxiety, and yet, Shion's painful voice struck me right in the heart. Huh? Huh? Well, what's the matter? I was taken aback by how strange my own voice sounded. What was it that just surprised me? I squeezed my head with my hands to try and drag back out what I'd only realized for a split second. Remember, Keiichi Maebara, you just realized something important. The night of the Watanagashi. That was when everything started, right? That night Takano-san and Tomatake-san died.
Have you remembered it?
Have I remembered
Have you remembered it yet? We got an interesting detail.
Just then?
And we got an interesting detail quite some time ago.
No, I'm sorry. There's so much going on. I must have missed it, and I feel
No. I mean, quite some time back, like episodes ago. That seems to have an interesting implication when considered in the light of this.
Okay. Let me take a look here. The old man who had treated Shion like his own daughter. He was a dependable person, would encourage Shion whenever she felt pressured by anxiety, and yet... Did we know that he had treated Shion like his own daughter?
Yep.
Yeah.
Shion said that to Keiichi over the phone, I believe.
Interesting.
Is there anything we know that doesn't line up?
I'm gonna be honest. It's not coming to me in this moment. It
Fair
might come back to me while I'm doing the rewatch and stuff, and taking notes. But right now, in this moment, I'm not gonna get it, unfortunately.
That's fine.
Maybe Keiichi's on his way to getting it. The next morning, word of the incident had spread throughout Hinamizawa. They planned to talk about it during the evening meeting. The mayor, however, had an appointment at the hospital, and as planned, he went there without telling his family. Got a checkup at the hospital. Ate something. And then there was an unexpected delay on his train ride back. When he returned, the meeting was already about to start. Did we learn something about his diet? The mayor's diet or his eating habits?
I don't think so.
The mayor changed clothes, got on his bicycle, hurried to the assembly hall at the shrine as fast as he could. From when he heard about the incident on the night of the Watanagashi until when he showed up in the assembly hall, everything he was doing that day was done in secret. During that time, no one found out that he went to the hospital alone. He ate alone. And he got on the train alone. That all meant he had absolutely no contact with anyone else. Couldn't have even called him on the phone. But what does that mean, Keiichi Maebara? Why does that matter, Keiichi Maebara? Oh.
Kei-chan, what should I do?
What's wrong? Tell me. We're not keeping secrets from each other, right?
Old man Kimiyoshi, I told him everything.
I told him everything. I told old man Kimiyoshi everything.
That night, I told the mayor that we snuck into the ritual storehouse. Also that someone saw us and was out to get us.
Right. What then?
Old man Kimiyoshi didn't get angry. He smiled, then told me that if I was properly sorry about it, there was no way I'd be demoned away. He was really smiling, and he told me to leave it to him.
Sweat burst out of my body like bullets. They became one long strand and slid down from my forehead to nose and fell. So then, what does it mean? No more playing dumb, Keiichi Maebara. When did she tell him?
When indeed.
Wait. I must be missing something here because I thought she told him the night of the Watanagashi. Am
I got the implication that she hadn't yet, then. but that she had by the time she spoke to Keiichi.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. So that's what I meant to be. Okay, that's interesting. Because let's see. Let me. Plan to talk about it during the right. Yeah. So I figured she had told him the night before, or like right the night on the Watanagashi. That's the only time she could have told him.
Why
So-
would she if Takano-san and Tomitake-san hadn't died yet or she didn't know about it? What would she have to be afraid of?
Oh, I see. I see what's happening. Okay.
She got paranoid about it after those two died, and she was like, oh no, they're coming for us too. But that wasn't a thing that we knew about
because
until...
he was incommunicado and okay.
Yeah, but also, aside from that, we didn't know that Takano-san and Tomitake died that night. We knew about it the next day.
So she would have had to tell him. She would have had to tell him on the night of the Tanagashi, which means she would have known about it before the police or the general public did.
Yep, that or she told him after the Watanagashi, in which case she met him at a time that doesn't fit
During
this
that
timeline.
day. Right. Okay. Okay.
So something doesn't line up.
That's who he was meeting over lunch.
Could be.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I wasn't gonna put that together. It's been long enough as we were going through this that I wasn't keeping that in my head. But I'm glad Keiichi was. What did she tell him? Shion had said she learned of the incident from a phone call her father made that morning. The mayor left the house first thing in the morning for his appointment at the hospital. He didn't tell anyone where he was going. No one knew about him going to the university hospital. Furthermore, his train ride back to his house was delayed by an accident. As soon as he got home, he rushed out to the assembly hall. Then the meeting at the assembly hall began and continued until it was dark out. Then everyone left. No one saw him until after the meeting was over. He just disappeared. Which meant that, Maebara-san, are you all right? You're too hot, I can, turn on that air conditioner, The other part of me was messing with my thoughts, demanding that I didn't think any further than that. My head was pounding violently, and the fluids packed inside it all blended together until nothing made sense. It was just about to settle, and yet it had been smashed and melted in the blink of an eye, no longer able to retain its shape. Maebara-san, are you in there? Yeah. Uishi-san lit yet another cigarette. It was yet another cigarette butt placed in the ashtray. Was it displaying the passage of time? My thoughts have been frozen over for that long. I've tried to tell you everything I know. In return, feel free to tell me anything you want, Maebara-san. My mind had become a gigantic oozing mess. My brain felt like it had been totally minced by the blades of a blender, and I couldn't think. Now. Don't clam up again. If there are any misunderstandings, I'd like to clear those up first. I don't think you're the culprit here or nothing. Uishi-san gave his best attempt at an adult smile. I know, before you snuck into the ritual storehouse that night, everyone in the village heard rumors about it by the next day. That in itself means we should take you in for trespassing, but that ain't the problem here. It was what's inside. What was inside that made the people who snuck in there end up as sacrifices. Interesting you jumped to that conclusion.
And he seems to be really big on the Sonozaki Yakuza angle and like, oh, they're using it to hide their meth lab or their weapons
Interesting
cache.
that he's using Keiichi's framing, though, as sacrifices, though.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything. As soon as I said it, I regretted confirming my presence there, but I knew it didn't matter anymore. Was there really nothing in there? I mean, everyone who went in is being sacrificed one by one, don't you know? Even the mayor Enrique-san who switched the lock on the door was sacrificed. So what was inside that could have caused such terrible things to happen? How'd you know about Oh, because someone called the police that night. Yeah, okay. Was far too tired of keeping quiet about this. Perhaps that was Oishi-san's goal all along, but again, that didn't matter anymore. There were just a lot of torture devices that were used a long time ago. I looked around at them with everyone. Was that really all? That was really all. There was nothing terrible in there that would make you keep silent, like a pile of psychoactive drugs, maybe a secret pop-up workshop. Perhaps there were mountains of Soviet or Chinese handguns. There weren't nothing suspicious wooden boxes, nor containers packed in there. There was nothing as exaggerated as what Oishi-san was hoping for, but felt like in a way there were plenty of terrible things hidden in there. From the perspective of someone who viewed the storehouse as sacred, whether or not I thought I had seen some crazy things didn't matter in the slightest. The four of us broke the taboo. Punish us. That should have been what happened. We put in a request for a search warrant, thinking there might have been some secrets hidden in that storehouse. It's been the sabotage of the century. So it would be an insult to religious figures, and something about the right to free religion in the Constitution. Gee, that's why I really didn't have any other recourse but to ask you, since you went in there and all. There really was just old, rusty, dusty torture equipment. Nothing else stood out to me. Huh. And then Tomateki-san and Takano-san were only killed as punishment over having broken the taboo. I didn't have an answer to the only part. I suppose I won't bother hiding it no more. You're the only one to escape from harm so far. Oh, I got the implication on that one immediately. Ooh, juicy. Everyone but you has disappeared, and yet you alone are safe. What is the difference between you and them that will protect you but bring harm to the others? That's what I want to know. There was something wrong with what Oishi-san was saying. You alone. What? Wait a second. What do you mean by you alone? I'm saying that you alone have been left alive, right? Out of the four people who tiptoed into the storehouse for ritual implements, I mean. The only one left alive. Hold on. Shion was still... Jiro Tomateki-san and Mio Takano-san died that night. And Shion Sonozaki disappeared the next day. What time the next day? Because she was calling Keiichi.
She called Keiichi pretty late at night.
Mion, what are you doing? What you doing, Mion? Or, oh god, because we have to figure out which one's... shit.
Which one's which? And how disappeared is disappeared.
Yep.
And which ones at the various times that he interacted with both of them since the disappearance it would have been.
Oh, my head. All right. Only you are still safe and sound at this point. Which is weird, because I thought it was Mion who disappeared.
Yeah.
That's the one that I called. Why only you? I am saying that's what I want to know. Shion disappeared? That's impossible. I unintentionally raised my voice, but I didn't care about that. Tomatake-san died. Takano-san died, and Shion disappeared? When? When did she disappear? What's this guy talking about? Oh, well now, I thought you were long since aware of this. This is the first I've heard of it. Shion disappeared when? Well, going back a bit, she disappeared the day after Watanagashi. Going back a bit? Stop saying stuff I don't understand. Shion Sonozaki spends the night at relatives' houses depending on her mood on any given day, so no one thought much of not knowing where she was. She frequently takes days off of school as well. Her teacher's been pretty troubled by it. I didn't ask about any of that. I'm asking you when she disappeared. I told you. It was the day after Watanagashi. The fluids in my body all reversed direction. I lost my sense of balance, and everything I could see started to wrap and twist out of shape. I simply couldn't endure it. Hang on. Shion had already disappeared. Then, that night, that phone call, who was that? She called me every night. She encouraged me. We found that we would do our best to live on and not be erased. This should have been a phone call with Shion, but... Should have been a phone call with Shion. She took breaks from a class like it was nothing. And the family wouldn't listen when the school told them, so they mostly didn't bother calling no more. It ended up taking quite a while before we realized she disappeared. Interesting. I felt a stabbing pain, how do they know she's disappeared now? Or that's when she disappeared then? How did they nail that down that it was her and that she disappeared then?
Good question.
Yeah. I felt a stabbing pain like needles were being pushed into every pore of my body. It started on my back and began spreading throughout the rest of me. When it had completely covered the surface of my skin, it began to worm its way inside of my stomach as well. Don't you remember? Ain't you remember? We talked at the library the day after with Tanagashi. Shion-san was there then, and that was the last we saw her. Ain't no one knows where she's been since. That can't be. That day, Oishi-san had only caught me and Shion bounded away lying that she needed to go to work. Didn't she call me that night? Her job was at a restaurant called Angel Mart, right? She ain't been there since that day. Been completely absent ever since. The person at the restaurant couldn't get in touch with her, and he was really worried. It can't be. It can't be. It's only circumstantial evidence, but after she left us at the library, but before she made it to work, I think it's appropriate to consider her having disappeared during that time. And after Shion ran away without me? It appears you ain't known. Maybe if you had said something earlier, this could have gone more quickly. But now you understand, right? You are the only one left. You are the only survivor of the four who slipped into the ritual storehouse. It couldn't be. It just couldn't be. If something else happens, it would happen to you. I need you to understand that, Maebara-san. It can't be. It can't be. It can't be. She had already disappeared. It couldn't be. It couldn't be. I had talked to her the day before yesterday. I talked to her last night. She was going to call me again today. It was Shion on the phone. Shion on the phone. It was from Shion. It was from Shion. Either that or she disappeared to somewhere that has phones.
Yeah?
Because it's not like Keiichi knows her number to begin with, and that's why she has to call him, right?
Mm-hmm. At the same time, it's pretty convenient that he doesn't know her number to begin with, because...
Yep. Right?
Who knows who's calling?
So maybe it's a double bluff and it's still her calling. Shion has long since disappeared. And next will be you. Then who was it on the phone?
Then who was phone?
Then who was phone? Who was phone?
Episode title.
That's the episode title right there. SK, put that down. That's the episode title. Who's on the phone those past nights? It can't be. Oh, this is delightful. Oh, I'm so excited.
We're getting the good stuff.
Oh, this is the good stuff right here. Oh, man. Oh, I lay down on the couch and stayed there dazed for a while. My mind was completely blank and I couldn't think about anything for more than just a few seconds. There was a note in my house saying that Mom and Dad would be home late, that I should have some ramen or something for dinner. So what this is telling me is I have to start making a day-by-day timeline of when people go where, like Majora's Mask this shit, right?
Maybe.
Like, start figuring out who goes where, when, and why, and what changes that behavior. Oh, I didn't consider doing a day-by-day timeline for Chapter 1 because I figured things would be far too different between timelines to have any point in doing that. But no, I might just straight up Majora's Mask this shit. Oh, delightful. Okay. There was a note in my house saying that Mom and Dad would be home late and that I should have some ramen or something for dinner. I could make it whenever I got hungry, but I had no appetite. I just stared blankly at the ceiling without eating anything. The hands of the clock were already pointing at 10. Will I get another phone call like that today? Even though Shion had already disappeared, would she still call me? Where were they calling from and who were they? Well, what do you mean who were they? There's literally only two other people it could be.
Wait, two?
Yeah.
Oh, Mion, Shion, Threon.
Exactly.
It could be Mion or Threon.
I was wondering if you... The more I thought about it, the more I started to tremble. I even thought about just disconnecting the phone line. If I'd been thinking a little less logically, I really would have done it too. Hold on, Keiichi Maebara. Oh, Oishi-san admitted himself, didn't he? That Shion went missing a lot? Couldn't she have just gone to relatives that Oishi-san didn't know about? And she's been there ever since. She and I were both being targeted by someone, so it would be strange to think she went somewhere she usually didn't in order to hide. That must have been why Oishi-san couldn't locate her, and why he labeled her a disappearance. That had to be it. Shion hadn't disappeared at all. Then my right hand moved of its own volition and slapped me on the cheek. Its cold sting let me calm down a little.
Screenshot that.
Just frame that one. Put it up in the office. Don't just convince yourself of the most convenient possibility, Keiichi Maebara. I knew I didn't want to admit that she had disappeared. Admitting it would mean that something terrifying was definitely happening. I just needed to figure out whether Shion was the one on the phone or not. Would I ask her if she was actually Shion? Seemed like an incredibly absurd thing to do. Still, don't run from this, Keiichi. The person on the other end still believed that I thought she was Shion. That gave me a tiny advantage. Casually, completely casually, I would listen to what she had to say and fend her off. I would tear the skin off the monster. It would definitely be really scary for me. However, as the last survivor of the people who went into the storehouse that night, this was my duty to perform. I guess the other thing to keep in mind, the only other way I could see this going is that Oishi-san is straight up lying to Keiichi that Shion went missing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he has more information, like in chapter 1, maybe he has more information than we're aware of, and he's playing Keiichi off to see how he reacts with these phone calls. That's the only other way I could see looking at that piece of that bit of information right now. Because it's not like, I guess no one in Hinamizawa was talking about it, but why would they, right?
Yeah.
Still, then who would call me and pretend to be Shion? I may have only heard her over the phone, but her voice shouldn't be that easy to replicate. Come on. Stop with this. That was definitely Shion's voice. It sounded just like her. It could only have been Shion. Keiichi, we spent the whole first half of this chapter doing this bit here. Come on, you can put it There was someone, though, wasn't there? Someone who sounded just like Shion. And that was Threon. Sorry, Mion. Yo, who else could have done this? At this point, seriously, after all this time, all those little things that didn't quite make sense about Mion until now overwhelmed my mind. Like being questioned about sneaking into the ritual storehouse. She shook the ladder while spouting curses. Who else could have? Who else could have? Why would Mion? Unless it's Mion that went missing, Shion is being Mion.
That's bold.
That wasn't that my original guess. Was that
was your original guess? Actually,
but now we've got
think.
more substance to it. That Mion went missing since she was the one I had named as the person I thought was going to go missing this time.
So this
and Shion has been poorly trying to take over Mion's life since then, while also trying to, maintain relationship with Keiichi about, hey, what's what here.
So then this is like what, a triple bluff?
There are layers here. Or maybe she's thinking she can get away with being absent from her old life for longer than she actually has. She may not know that Shion has been declared missing. It would be weird with someone who has access to information like she does, but it may just be the case that she legitimately thought she had more time before she would be declared missing. I thought back to the things about the Sonozaki family that I had heard from Oishi-san and Shion. Or maybe she wanted to make sure that Shion was declared missing, so that Mion wasn't. Mion was always entangled in the incidents, in a position where she thought she was an omnipotent. Some of that information included things that Shion had told me after she disappeared. I madly scratched my head. Courage, give me the courage, just a little bit of courage to pick up the phone, and I know it will ring tonight. It'd be so easy to run away. That, though, would be the same as making it easy for them to erase me. I cannot run. I must stand up and face it. After all, the next sacrifice would definitely be me. For sure Shion would use tricky words to try and trap me. Just be careful. Just be careful. I'm scared. I don't want to do this. Excuse me? At that point, it rang. The phone rang and I didn't know where the call was coming from. Shion had disappeared. Disappeared a long time ago. Disappeared the night after Watanagashi, and yet, until today, she had been calling me like nothing had happened. Now again tonight, the people that had disappeared, their corpses simply hadn't been found. I really didn't think that they were alive. So if it really was Shion on the other end, that means she was calling me from another world. Really? That's where we went with this? Of course, that couldn't be. A living being was calling me, pretending to be Shion. Shion was long gone, and yet, as though she were alive and well, the phone continued its incessant ringing. Didn't want to pick up if I didn't have to. Just concluded, though, that not doing so wouldn't solve anything. What would I do after I answered it? Would I immediately declare she wasn't Shion and ask who she was? Alternatively, I could pretend I was still fooled and try to grab her by the tail. That would probably be the safest thing to do. What I was most afraid of was what the person on the phone would do when she realized I knew she wasn't Shion. However, as long as I continued to let her think I was fooled, she shouldn't do anything extreme, right? If I just make sure to be careful, that should be the safest option. Made up my mind. I'll answer the phone. Once I do that, I'll talk to her as if nothing happened. That wasn't all I'd do this time, though. I'd scope her out. Who was she? What was she thinking? And what was she after? Why was she doing this? Was she really the one who killed Tomotage-san and Takano-san? What happened to the mayor? What happened to Rika-chan and Sadako? I reached out for the receiver, my arm trembling. There were too many things I wanted to know, too many things I wanted to ask. I was scared. I should start by picking up the phone. Pick it up, Keiichi Maebara. Hello? I would believe that would have been if it hadn't been a call from Shion.
Ah, Kei-chan. It's me, it's Shion.
My momentary, convenient, and above all fleeting prediction was ripped into 1,000 pieces. I couldn't help shaking at this point. Get ready for this.
You took a long time to pick up. I thought you weren't home and I was about to hang up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just in the bath.
Did your family not pick up for you? Could your parents be out right now, Kei-chan?
I failed. I let her in on a fatal piece of information that I was currently the only one at my house. No, they're not really. Yeah, anyway, have you heard about Rika-chan and Sadako?
No. What happened after that? Were they found?
So she already knew that they were missing. Interesting. No, they haven't been found yet.
Kei-chan, please don't lose hope.
If Oishi-san hadn't let me know, I might have allowed myself to shed a tear or two at Shion's considerate words. Instead, now that I had come to this, I couldn't take her words at face value. This person on the other end of the receiver, the more perfect a Shion they were, the more my blood curdled in fear. Rika-chan and Sadako, they were kidnapped, weren't they?
Yes, I don't think there's much doubt.
Just how cruel and grave a meaning did those words hold? Their weight astonished me. And then a moment later, I was overcome with a numbness and felt like I would pass out. If I had asked if Rika-chan and Sadako had been kidnapped, Shion in turn had answered that there wasn't much doubt. That cruel meaning behind her words. Rika-chan and Sadako were... No, I mean, I'm sorry, about the mayor. What do you think happened after he was kidnapped? You think he's still alive? What happened to Rika-chan and Sadako after they were kidnapped? This is what I wanted to ask, but I frantically caught myself. What if she had given that question a terrifying response in such a way to sound like it had nothing to do with her? I was scared of that, so I immediately brought up the mayor. That said, however much I talked about the mayor,
I think he was killed.
Wait, that was quick!
I think it must be really hard to kidnap someone and keep them like they are. As long as they're not hostages, it would be most practical to kill them once you're done with them.
The world started to bend so much I almost lost my balance. The scenery in my eyes whirled around and around like the hands of a clock and tried to swallow me whole from below. I frantically put a hand on the wall to support myself. A moment later, a severe nausea welled up within me. How was she saying such things so lightly? Kill them so readily. I mean, what's a human life or two anyway?
It's a horrible thing, but I think that's probably what happened.
The mayor was killed. Did that mean the same had happened to Rika-chan and Sadako? No, that couldn't be. They weren't some random old man. It was Rika-chan. It was Sadako. They're on the cover of the game. They couldn't kill them so readily.
It's probably better to think that Rika-chan and Sadako-chan ended up the same way.
Those were the words I wanted to hear the least. I fought them back with a scream of my own. Though it wouldn't change anything still. I still couldn't help but scream. Ah! This time, the tears flowed. I confronted with the most horrific outcome that I've been trying to avoid considering ever since last night, and I cried. There was no longer any doubt that it was my fault. I had killed them. I killed Rika-chan and Sadako. I succumbed to the weakness of my own heart and confessed everything to Rika-chan. That's why they were killed. It meant that I killed them. But Rika-chan looked at me with those innocent eyes. If only I hadn't given in. Even my voice gave out, and yet I still cried. And cried.
Kei-chan, please, just try and calm down.
Rika-chan and Sadako, they've been killed. Couldn't even find the remains. I would never be allowed to even apologize to their faces. That was to be my punishment. How brutal a punishment it was. I think Shion tried to comfort me, but I didn't hear any of it. What are you going to gain by doing that? They're definitely going to target you and me next. Please, I'm asking you. Get a... Oh.
What are you going to gain by doing that? They're definitely going to target you and me next. Please, I'm asking you. Get a hold of yourself. Please. Please.
Shion was shouting, imploring me with a voice that sounded like tears were in her eyes. However, as I was coming to hate the sound of that voice more and more, this Shion killed them. I had no doubts that this person killed them. Why? 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 Why kidnap someone and kill them? Screw curses, are people's lives really that cheap? Erasing them and killing them without a second thought like this.
You're right. You're absolutely right. It would take a demon.
I felt like crushing the receiver in my hand. How long did this person plan on acting like it was someone else's problem? It was magma in the pit of my stomach, and it felt like it was going to erupt at any moment. Shion, please tell me. Why did Hinamizawa start needing someone to die on the night of the Watanagashi?
That's what I'd like to know.
Fighting over the damn project is already over and done with. But enough people have been cursed already. Why is it? Why? If there's a reason, then say it now. I wasn't coherent at this point. My emotions had broken through the dam inside of me, rushing forth, and I couldn't stop them. These were not simple questions. This was an interrogation. Shion herself hadn't realized it yet. It was just too funny. It was so funny that I couldn't stop crying.
I understand how you feel, Kei-chan. I really do. The dam wars ended a long time ago, yet murders and disappearances keep happening every year under the guise of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Why? Why is it happening? Some of them had nothing to do with this, and some of them didn't deserve to be cursed, so why? Why?
That's what I'm asking you!
I want to know that as much as anyone.
Both of our ragged breaths could be heard over the phone.
Listen, Oyashiro... Is this Shion talking?
This has to be Shion.
Okay. Listen, Oyashiro-sama's curse never existed. It's too unrealistic. Just like you said, someone in the village is using the grand name of Oyashiro-sama's curse as a justification for continuing these murders and disappearances every Watanagashi. They were cunning. They've been using the curse as a convenient tool and made a system where they would get rid of 2 enemies in the village every year. And this year, that system killed Takano-san and Tomitake-san.
Then why wasn't that enough? Why did the mayor and Rika-chan and Sadako have to get killed too? I don't give a shit about the past. The only thing I care about is why Rika-chan and Sadako needed to be killed. Why is that? I didn't say a word to Sadako, you know. Why even her? Why? The silence fell between us. Shion didn't answer for a while.
Kei-chan, please stop being mean.
A sob. Was Shion crying? You don't have any idea what's going... Oh.
I don't have any idea what's going on either. Everything changed when we went into the ritual storehouse that night.
It was the same for me. As I listened to Shion's bitter weeping, I could feel my agitation subsiding.
When I heard that Takano-san and Tomitake-san had been killed that night, I doubted my ears. Then I realized it instantly. I realized what sort of a position I was in now. The 4 of us snuck in there. Kei-chan, you and I won't be so conveniently forgiven. When I thought about that, it made my chest so tight. It was so terrifying. You know that feeling, Kei-chan, don't you?
There was nothing fake about her words. She'd even understood how I felt.
That's why I confessed everything to Old Man Kimiyoshi. All of us entered the Forbidden Storehouse. It was just a little bit of fun. We knew we shouldn't have done it, but it really had just been for fun. It was only a bit of exploration, that was all. Takano-san and Tomitake-san, who went in with us, were killed shortly afterward. They met such miserable ends. Since that day, I've been living in fear of when I would be attacked. There was nobody except old man Kimiyoshi who would help me, so I asked him to save me. Old man Kimiyoshi, he wasn't mad. He smiled and said, "If you're really sorry, Shion-chan, then you'd never be demoned away." He really did smile at me and told me to leave it to him.
Shion cried bitterly, recalling the beloved mayor's death. It was such a sad voice that none who heard it could prevent it from twisting their hearts. Again, I let my emotions take over and go off at her? Shion was in the same situation as me. She could have been my one and only comrade. Thump. My heart pounded. My other self, deep within my mind, whispered to me, "Don't forget, Keiichi Maebara, don't forget about the mayor," the morning after Watanagashi. He was told of Takano-san and Tomitake-san's deaths over the phone, and committed to a meeting that evening. He went to a hospital appointment. He didn't tell his family. He only made it back just in time for the meeting. He went straight to the assembly hall. That's what Oishi-san had said. When did you let the mayor know?
Huh?
I'm sorry, Shion. It must seem like I'm kicking you while you're down, but you told him, right? You told old man Kimiyoshi, the mayor?
Yes.
When did you let him know? Begun to get scared of saying it aloud after hearing her sad voice. Wasn't saying it was contradictory, though. Besides, if there was a contradiction, then I wanted her to explain it to me. Did you know that the mayor had a severe case of hemorrhoids and had gone to the hospital for treatment?
Kei-chan, what does that have to...
Please answer me. If you didn't know, then just say so. There was a momentary silence, and after stammering a few times, she replied,
I knew that he had hemorrhoids. It looked like sitting down was really hard for him.
He was going to the hospital. You know which hospital, right?
I'm sorry, I don't know that much, but Kei-chan, what does this have to do with...
Shion didn't know what hospital the mayor went to. That meant it was impossible for her to have gone all the way to the hospital and confess everything. Since she didn't know his destination, she obviously couldn't have seen him on the train either. If any other chance for her to contact him, it would have been after he came to Hinamizawa. The train, however, had been delayed. He only got back right before the meeting was to start. He didn't have the time. There wouldn't have been enough time for him to listen to Shion spill the beans. Unless she called him? I don't know. He called her, maybe? I don't know.
But when?
I don't know. Payphone? I want to ask you straight, Shion, when did you tell the mayor about everything? When and where? Your answer doesn't have to be precise, but please give me one.
Kei-chan, why are you asking that?
Her sob pierced into my ears. I was taken by the illusion that I was bullying her. Even so, I will say it. If I'm wrong, then please correct me. Please prove to me that you're the real Shion. Because it was impossible. The day the mayor disappeared, from dawn until he vanished, there was no opportunity for you to contact him.
That's...
The mayor left first thing in the morning for his examination at the university hospital, all by himself, without telling anyone. You just said you don't know what hospital he went to. You couldn't have contacted the mayor until he got back, isn't that right? His train back was delayed by an accident, and he didn't return to his house until the meeting was about to start. So there was no time for you to have told him before the meeting started either. I heard Shion repeating her weak sobs. That sort of feminine voice automatically ripped into my heart. It was so painful for me to see it. Did you go to the meeting too, Shion? Did you attend it and tell him there? If you didn't, then there wouldn't have been any time left. The mayor disappeared on his way home. Shion went to the meeting, didn't she? Did she or didn't she? The question was so simple to answer, but she didn't give me an immediate response.
Actually, with the meeting,
You didn't even go to the part-time job you said you went to that day. I'll say it more directly. You haven't been seen since we were at the library together.
Kei-chan, well...
Shion Sonozaki disappeared the day after Watanagashi. The other end fell silent as the grave. It was so quiet that it was like the phone cord had been cut. I couldn't sense anyone there. Oishi-san says you've been missing. And despite that, you've been calling me every night like this, haven't you? Shion's sobs were torturing me. Still, I'm pretty sure I haven't said anything wrong. Please, Shion. If something I said was wrong, please say so. Shion, I am begging you. Shion, there's no way you could have seen the mayor, but if you did see him, if she ever did have the chance to meet with the mayor on that day, then that meant, then you saw him after the meeting. In other words, it could have been only right before he disappeared, or else afterward. Definitely not beforehand, because that would mean you knew. Beep, 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 went the dial tone. I stood there dazed for a while until I realized she had hung up on me.
All right.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah.
Oh, I am all about this. I'm so excited. Oh, we got some tips. We got a little time in this, so let's see if we can get these.
All right.
Page 4 of tips. Oh my god, so much scrapbooking.
I am prolific.
Apparently.
The problem with twins. This is not limited to just Hinamizawa, but in Onagafuchi village especially, the three families detested giving birth to twins as successors. The long-term dictatorship, built on the precarious balance of the three families, must have feared collapsing under the weight of internal strife from things like family quarrels. According to the literature, if twins were born, then they had to be culled. With that, the very fact that both the Sonozaki family successor, Mion Sonozaki, and her twin, Shion, are alive, is in itself deeply interesting. Perhaps the current leader, Oryo, is sympathetic.
You know what that reminds me of? I wonder if this has its root in a folktale of some kind. Because that reminds me of the demon twins folk story that Subaru shares in ReZero.
Oh yeah, it totally does.
So I'm wondering if that has its root in a story of demon twins as well.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
I know the author of ReZero has read RO7's works, but I'm wondering if that there's something more if there's something more general in folklore that they're calling from there.
Of course, the twins were not cared for equally, and as the heir, Mion received special treatment. From what I've heard, despite the two of them looking exactly the same on the outside, the talent lies solely with Mion. My own observations of the two of them don't leave me with that impression. Tradition dictates that the leader of the Sonozaki family is said to inherit a demon, and they tattoo a magnificent one onto his or her back.
She does. Mion has the Yakuza tattoo.
You called that in like episode 2, and I had to not laugh the whole time.
Oh my gosh, she has. Oh, okay. So there is. Oh,
They are not identical.
They are
they
not
can be told
identical.
apart, but not in everyday situations.
interesting. It's also interesting that the uniforms that Angel Mort have very revealing like shoulders and back as well.
That is, and we didn't see anything like a full back tattoo at that time. So
Right,
that's
it's
weird.
unclear if this is like just a tattoo on their back or like a full or a magnificent one.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly this is. Ooh, you don't really want to get tattoos while you're young because your body's still growing.
Mm-hmm.
But
In accordance with the tradition, there is an extremely high possibility that Mion has such a tattoo on her back.
ooh, she's got the Yakuza ink.
From what I've heard, there is apparently a magnificent demon tattooed on Orio's back as well. Then I wonder what sort of tattoo belongs to the heir, Mion. I really want to see her back.
Yeah,
But not for weird reasons.
Yeah, not for weird reasons, just weird conspiracy reasons. Those are normal.
I'm not a creep.
Not a creep, just a conspiracist. At the Suzu Mahjong Parlor. Reserved for the day, Suzu Mahjong Parlor. Clatter clack. Hey, Kuro-chan, the last one here. All the youngsters are here already.
Kura-chan is...
Oh, right, all right. Ha, right. Sorry, I got Kura and Kuma-chan.
Yep.
Excuse me, miss. Oh, Ishii, that's me, handed over a convenience store bag with a carton of cigarettes in it to the old lady who owned the Mahjong parlor, and she shrewdly made herself scarce. She was used to this by now.
They got a deal with the old lady who runs the local mahjong parlor to bribe her with cigarettes to give them a secret place to
Hell yeah.
do top secret police business off the books. Oh, Ishii-san, good work today.
What, you all earnestly waiting for me? You could have just done 3-player. Everyone sitting at the mahjong tables in the small parlor were Orishi's subordinates. That's me again. But there were no tiles laid out anywhere. Everyone, I'd like to thank you for your days of investigation without sleep.
Thank you.
Energetic responses filled the parlor. Already it had lost the atmosphere of a place of entertainment. Situation ain't looking good. Chief appears to have backed down due to Congressman Sonozaki's threats. In the coming days, we'll hand off Takano's murder to the Gifu police and give the missing persons case of the disappearance of the mayor and others to community division. That damn upstart chief. The veterans in the room cursed him. All of our requests for warrant. I'm not going to say anything about the case of Shion Sonozaki, though. All of our request warrants were turned down as well. Been told by our section chief not to go anywhere near the Sonozaki house. We're certainly in a bind, that we are. Incidentally, looks like I'll be getting orders soon to go training at the Metropolitan Police Department starting next week. For that, I've been told to take a paid vacation in Izu. Well, I suppose that ain't bad. I heard a few dry laughs. They weren't nothing to laugh about, but that was all they could do. It always happens, but incidents are a lot like locking your keys in the car. The keys you need to unlock the door are always locked inside. For cars, you call the repairman, and they'll pry open your door. For incidents, Kuma-chan, show me the map. Kumagi flipped over the whiteboard. On the back was a map of the Sonozaki premises made with magnets. Now, I've been doing this job for a long time, and I got a lot of faith in my gut, but this could be the one time it was wrong. No, anyone worried about the retirement money has until the count of 10 to get out of here. I began to count to 10, and everyone counted along with me. It was the famous 10-count resolution. 9, 10, well, no one's leaving. None of you love your families too much, is that it? Everyone laughed uproariously, cheering things up. I want everyone to go over their materials, memorize the locations and blind spots of all the security cameras. Kuma-chan, you'll stand by in the command car. Something happens, you'll switch with me and take over. Komiyama-kun will head up infiltration team A. Atsushi-kun will lead team B. Observation teams will set up points 1 through 8. Bonshi-kun, you're responsible for keeping a strict timetable. Control your rotation so HQ don't get wise. Now, the team on standby has the most important job, alright? The section chief asks why I am, play dumb. I'll handle escorting our guest. You be sure I'll bring him to the venue, so wait patiently, everyone.
Wonderful cave. Keiichi Maebara, that is.
What I seen, what's that for tomorrow or the day after in that regard, it'll be easy. Wonderful cave. What do they want from him in this? They're like,
yeah.
Is it they want him to show them something, give them a reason to get the warrant signed? Well, we don't have a lot of time left on the... Oh, God, we have seconds. Okay. Well, we'll see you all next time when I think about that, all right?
Yeah. Peace, y'all.
everyone.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.